Some folks have been waiting for the second half of this video for a long time, and just things going on. But anyway, this is the deal. Yes, I'm with the black guy. One of the crazy Craigslist stories. This is part 2. But part 1 is first, and then there's part 2. But there's a really nice little sweet separation spot in there that I think you will enjoy. So with that, I have a crazy Craigslist story for you. This woman, she's still alive. She's a trip. Okay, I grew up in Alabama, so I'm used to dealing with what I call gentle racists, if there's such a thing. These are people that won't get in their pickup truck and they won't go out and shoot people or harm folks, but they inherently believe that white people are better than everyone else. That's just who they are. They'll tell you. And honestly, I'd rather deal with them because I know what I'm dealing with versus those that are, I'm not racist. Shank, shank, shank. You're bleeding? Oh, not enough. Shank, shank, shank. Well, I put up an ad on Craigslist. I had this really nice dining room set. It was an Ethan Allen. It was from like the 60s, but it was in great condition. They had kept the covers on it, so the wood was in awesome shape. The chairs are all nice and tight. Beautiful cabinet. Solid hardwood construction. Just not the type of thing you can get today without spending a grip. And I knew what I had because the table set would seat 12 people. That's a huge table set. Seats 12, matching chairs, matching china cabinet. $3,500 all day long, because to get just a china cabinet of a equivalent dining room set may have cost you $12 grand just for the china cabinet. So people who knew what it was, they came in there. So I had it up on Craigslist and I had it tricked out. Big pictures, from the photo bucket, Craigslist, photo pimp. I mean, it was looking nice. People were calling. Folks were like, hey, will you take $1,500? Will you take $2,000? And I'm like, no. Why? Because it was close to Thanksgiving. It was very close to Thanksgiving. About 4 weeks out, people typically, here's a tip for you, people typically furnish their houses well after they buy them. Like say someone buys a house in June, say they buy a house in July, August. They may not really get deep into new furniture or adding furniture until just before the holidays. Just how people are. So I was getting a lot of activity, and the person was like, hey, would you take 2? So I was like, I'm going, because my bottom line was $3,000. My bottom line was $3,000, and someone just off the cuff without seeing it was offering 2. I was very confident that I was going to get what I wanted. Well, I get a call from this lady, and she's like, and I can tell she's an elderly lady, but you know how you get those elderly folks who are a little sassy, a little spunk to them. And she's like, hey, are you the man with the table set for sale? I said, yes, I'm the man with the table set for sale. Trying to mock her, right? And she's like, oh, you're a smart ass, aren't you? I was like, pretty much. We're going to get along just fine, right? She's that type. I was like, set it up. And she's like, I want to wait for my husband to get off work, but I really want to look at that table set before it gets away from me. Would you be available to meet in the next 2 hours? Sure, yeah, I'm available to make $3 grand in the next 2 hours. You better believe it. So I give her the address of the warehouse. I go to the table set because I had covers on it. So I take the covers off and actually did a little shine job real quick, knocked the dust off of it, had it looking nice and sexy. Well, she comes in, she's punctual, and she comes in the door, and she looks at me, and she's like, hey! And I'm like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, where's the gentleman that's selling the table? And I was like, you're looking at him. You're the one that said I was a smart ass. And she's like, oh, heavens, it was you? And there was a pause, right? And she's like, oh, well, show me the table, right? I'm like, I didn't really know how to take that. I was feeling some kind of way, right? Well, she goes to the table and she looks at it and she's like, God, you can't tell it's not new. I mean, seriously, you could not. The only thing that was missing was the new furniture smell, but you could not tell it was new. The seat cushions were immaculate. I mean, it was a very nice piece of furniture. So we go on and on and on, and she's like, hold on for a second. So she whips out this brick of a phone. You know how old people are. They're like, long as you can punch buttons and dial, they don't really care about, upgrading. I mean, this phone had to be old. It was huge. Like Nokia, that first Nokia phone. I mean, the sucker was huge. And I was just like, wow, interesting phone you have there. She's like, everyone talks about my phone, but it works, damn it. I said, okay. So I walk off to allow her to have a little privacy with whoever she was going to talk to. And then she's like, you can't get off. You own the place and you can't get off. And there was some other stuff. Then she's like, okay, well, I'm going to wait. And I was like, what do you mean you're going to wait? She didn't ask me if she could wait. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, it's going to be a little while before my husband can get off, but he needs to look at it, but I want it. What's your best price? I said $3,500. At that point, she had told me that she wanted it. She was making arrangements. I was going for the gusto. I'm like, you gonna do all that? And she's like, She looked at me and she said, you sure about that? I was like, yep. And I didn't even spring on that included delivery. Didn't spring that out just yet. Just let her marinate on that price. And she's like, I have to think about that. She's like, is there a SunTrust close by? I said, actually, there's one on the corner. She said, okay, well, let me go over there and I'll think about it. I'll let you know. She's like, don't sell my table. All right, so I didn't know what to think. People leave. Sometimes they come back. Sometimes not. The ad was up. I was still fielding calls. About 30 minutes later, she calls me back. She says, I'm on my way back with the money. She comes back, comes in the warehouse. She hands me an envelope. It's 35 crisp $100 bills. And I said, well, I didn't tell you, but this price included delivery. So just fill out this form, give me your address and everything. She said, that's even better. And, we just sit there and we just start talking and the phone rings. And I don't know who's on it, but she's like, yeah, I'm still with the black guy. And then there's how you can hear some phone conversations, and then there was an inflection on the other side. And she's like, well, he's nice. And now she's talking like I'm not even there. It's like, yeah. Well, he's pretty interesting. He's not like the rest. I'm sitting there like, okay. And apparently he's doing pretty well for himself. I mean, she continues to have this conversation. It's like, yeah, he's got this warehouse. He's selling this furniture. It's like, he's not like the blacks from where we are. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, you know what? At that point, and I'll tell you why I got to that point. At that point, I just went to my desk and just got on my computer because, one, she wasn't getting the $3,500 back. Yes, she was a racist. But when I used to have a job where I was selling commercial office furniture, I was the only black guy in the firm, and I dealt with worse on a daily basis. And I made a decision. Either you're going to stay here and deal with this stuff, or you're going to run. Because it's not going to go away. And my way of dealing was to be one of the best salespeople there, kick their ass, make that money, got enough money, did a really nice deal, and was able to do my own business. At that point, I left, and I left on my terms because a better opportunity was for me. That was the attitude I had with this. It's like, you're a racist, but you just paid me $3,500 for something that I got out of a unit. I only paid $450. I would be a fool to become upset and throw your money back in your face. And just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, she's off the phone and she comes back over and she's like, where'd you grow up? And I was like, Alabama. Really? It's like, no, where'd you grow up? She said, Alabama. I was like, what part? She said, was it Flat Shoals, I believe? Or, I think it was Flat Shoals. No. Decatur, Alabama. Because I remember, I was like, yeah, Decatur, Georgia, Decatur, Alabama. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, how long have you been in Georgia? She said, about 10 years. We moved. We just wanted something different, be closer to the grandkids. I was like, okay. And she's like, my husband, he has an energy company, and he just brought it here, and it's actually doing quite well. That's pretty good. We're just sitting there and talking. And she's like, I just crack up every time I think of her. she's like, let me ask you something. Then her phone rung again. And she did it again. And it's like, yeah, I'm still with the black guy. I'm just like, what is that? So she has a little conversation and everything. And then she gets off and she's like, have you ever been with a white woman? And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't mess with old white women. Sorry. No, we're, no. I mean, yeah, she was nice. She was sharp. She was well preserved, but hell no. And she's like, not for myself. I'm a married woman. And I was like, what are you getting at? Because, and then at that point, I used to have some of the craziest conversations in the warehouse with some of my customers. Because, I'm that guy that will go there. We're just sitting there talking, and we're talking. And she's like, then she just did that thing, If you're black and this happened to you, you know what I'm talking about. She's like, well, you don't seem like the rest of them. It's like, the rest of them? What's the rest of them? And she's like, well, where I grew up, I didn't encounter black people such as yourself. And she said, I moved to black. My son told me colored wasn't acceptable. I was like, yeah, it doesn't really fly well, but, you just call me Glendon. Oh, okay. So she goes on, well, it's just, I have a niece. Now, this is where it gets really strange because, like I said, the woman's a racist, okay? No doubt about it. She's a racist, but she's not that racist that would have a machine gun and mowing down black people, Asians, and gays. She's not that person. She's just that kind that has that thought process, and more than likely, she probably was really friendly to the colors that she knew. Well, we were just talking. She has this niece, and she looked kind of pained when she's like, she has a preference for black men. I'm like, what? I was like, so your niece likes a little chocolate in her life? She said, yes, she does. And she just shook her head, and she now this is where it I don't know. I just have this energy where people just, and she's comes around the desk and she puts her hand on top of mine. She's like, you just don't know. The guys, they're just deplorable. They're degenerates. They don't have jobs. And at this point in my head, I'm thinking the niece is like, and now, like just huge, right? Just morbidly obese, because you see that all the time. And she's like, she's a smart girl. She's got 2 degrees. She just gets with these bums. And in my mind, I'm like, she likes to get her back blown out by some bro dick. But I didn't say that to grandma because, we're bonding, right? We're bonding. And her phone rings again. And I'm like, this is an active old lady because I'm going to peg her to be about, at the time, maybe 68. But she was spry, as they say. And she gets on the phone and she's like, yeah, I'm still with the black guy. And after the phone, I was like, I'm going to ask her, what the hell? So she has her conversation. She gets off the phone. And I was like, what is up I'm with the black guy. She said, oh, when I went to the bank, I just called a few friends and let them know that I was with you in case something happened. At that point, I knew I was a staunch capitalist. I was like, nothing's going to happen to you. This is what's going to happen. You're going to get your dining room set, china cabinet, and chairs and everything wrapped. My guys are going to deliver to your place. They're going to give you exceptional service, and we're going to have a great day. And she's like, see, I know that I can be hard to deal with, and I say things I shouldn't. It's just me, And I was like, look, let's just cut it down to it. You're a racist, and I know you're a racist, but you're not the racist that would get in a truck and go kill someone. You're not a mean person. You just think that the white race is better than everything else. And she said, pretty much. Like I said, there was no shame in her game. And honestly, I had respect for that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because she knew who she was. And she wasn't ashamed of it. And that let me know how to handle her. Because she was blunt. I was blunt. And, we're going along. And then someone's knocking at the door. And she said, oh, that's my niece. I was like, what the hell? She's called her niece, right? And I'm just like, I just knew this is going to be horrible, right? I just knew it's going to be horrible. Comes in this little chick that kind of has that Pamela Anderson look, really, really blonde, really, really blue eyes, and big ass titties. I mean, they're just like, poof. I'm sitting there like, nah, that can't be her niece. That's not the one she's talking about. Because if it is, I know why black guys like her. Black guys like her, white guys like her, Asian. This chick was hot. She was freaking hot. So she comes over, and this is my niece. This is one I told you about. And I was like, get out. And we start talking, and actually, she was blonde, but she didn't act blonde. It was just like a really, really strange moment. I had a racist grandmother trying to hook me up with her niece because I was not like the rest of them. Yes, it's a true story. I'm sitting here just tripping as I go back over it. And yes, I'm back. All right. There were many people in the comments that were like, yeah, he hit that. And as Paul Harvey used to say, I'm going to tell you, he didn't say it like this, but I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to give you the rest of the story. Left off, there's a knock at the door. She comes in. And just to be succinct, she's gorgeous. Pamela Lee Anderson, gorgeous before the drugs. Gorgeous. Very nice. Comes in, introduces herself. And then Grandma, baby, I want you to meet this fine Southern gentleman. And I'm looking like, where the hell is this guy? And, she introduces me, and she like, he owns this place. And she winks at the granddaughter, right? And the granddaughter's like, that's very nice. You're doing well for yourself, blah, blah. And then Grandmama, she's like, I'll take the stuff and, write the receipts and everything. And she says, you should get to know each other. This woman who's been talking all this stuff, yes, I'm with the black guy, she's not just trying to push this to, she is just like cranking. She's just like, I'm going to make this work. I was like, this is really strange. So she's like, I just thought you would like to come here and meet him. And I know you like that funky shit. I'm just looking at her, right? Because this woman's a trip. And at that point, I had some nice 60s and mid-century stuff in stock. And she really liked the stuff, and she was looking at it and everything. And after Grandmama left, we were just talking and everything. I said, look, it's cool. I'm happy. Made the grip the money off Grandma. But she just tells me something. She said, let me be honest with you. And I was like, oh, Lord, could this day become any stranger? And she's like, I know what my grandmother is. I've experienced it. I was like, what have you experienced? And she just tells me, she says, well, I'm a lesbian. And I was like, I didn't bat an eye. I'm in Atlanta. A lot of stuff happens. And she says, it would be more preferable to my grandmother for me to be with a black guy than to be a lesbian. And a little tear came out of her eyes. I'm like, I'm holding on to this chick, like, because she's like distraught and stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, how did I go from this crazy bigoted lady to holding her granddaughter, comforting her, because, I can't understand when people like marginalize you like that. I do understand. So we had a moment, me with the lesbian in the warehouse after Grandma left. I'm like, okay, could this day get any stranger? Why did that thought run across my mind? Because that's literally, it ran across my mind and went, ah! And she said, could you do me a favor? And I was like, I'm like, well, what is it? She's like, well, could we date? And I'm like, what? She's like, no, not for real. I'm like, what? I'm sitting there like, what the hell? She's like, no. It's like, apparently she approves of you. And I was like, I really don't like how you said this. She's like, you met her, what we're dealing with, and she's on good behavior today. And I'm just like, so what's your plan here? And she's like, well, just for a few events, could we just hang out and everything? And she's a bigot. And she looked at me and she's a bigot. I know what she is, but she's my grandma and I love her. And I understood that, because let's just really slice it up. Grandma had problems. But let's really look at this. As racist as grandma was, she couldn't have been too racist trying to hook her daughter up with me. And I was like, and this is how I get myself into shit. This is how stuff that goes on, because remember what I said about storage auctions. I love going through people's shit. So I got to play a role. I got to become a character in the play. I was the Negro. In the play, this is our dysfunctional family. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm with it. I'm making money. And if you know how game works, when you're with a really hot babe, that will get you more hot babes. So I started thinking of the upside. Money, more potential for pussy. Yeah, straight up. That's my mind. It's like, you know what? This could work out. So we, exchanged numbers. She did buy a few pieces. Actually, I made a lot of money off the family. This is where it gets real funny, because I am going to family events. And fortunately, due to my corporate America training, I am very used to being the only Negro amongst many white people. It's like second nature sometimes. And it's just, I go into this role and everyone's comfortable and I'm comfortable, and they're next thing you know, they're inviting me over to dinner and let's go play golf. So this goes on, right? This goes on. I'm hanging with the fam. Grandma's happy. The lesbian's happy. But her girlfriend is not happy. She's not happy at all. She's really unhappy. Very unhappy. Because the little lesbian was bi. Didn't know it. She didn't tell me that. She introduced herself to me as a lesbian. I did not know this girl had some dick in her life before. Didn't ask. Didn't know. I'm the type of guy, if you tell me you're a lesbian, I'll take you at your word. So, the girlfriend, she was a stud. If you know what it is, look it up. And when we first met, there was just like, pfft, because here's someone who has purported masculine energy in the presence of someone with masculine energy. And it was just like, in the beginning, it was just like, I thought it was like, oh, no, it's work, because the way your girlfriend is glaring at me, if she had a shank, it would be in my ass. And she's like, no, she'll be all right. She has to warm up to you. So, as this thing goes on for months, okay? Because understand, I am an actor in the play. This is a dysfunctional family. So it's not like a full-time gig, it's just kind of here and there. So one day, I'm at their place, because, we're getting ready to go to the family picnic. Google that, and you understand why I'm laughing. And she's just like, she pulls me aside, her girlfriend, and she's like, look, this is going a little bit too far. And I was like, what do you mean? Because this, I never, ever hit it. Never, ever hit it. And she's like, well, I think she's developing feelings for you. I was like, what are you talking about? She likes you, and what you do to her and y'all things. And every time we're together, all she does is talk about you. And she's like, no, she's different. And this girl looked me in my eye. Tell me, did you fuck her? Did you? Tell me, did you fuck her? No. Trust me, I haven't. And then she proceeds to tell me that something's different downstairs, and I'm just like, I don't need to know this. So we're going on. This is my crazy life in the business, because I just got in myself. I opened myself up to craziness. I think I dwelled on it, and I love going through people's stuff so much that I call that into my life. Because when I sit back and think about it, how in the hell did all this crazy shit just happen to me? My partner and our employees used to laugh at me. One day, this is a rabbit hole. We're going somewhere else, but I will come back. There's these girls and my partner, and they knew what type of chicks I liked. And then I'm walking by showing this girl some stuff, and my partner's at the desk like, ho. Then Gene, one of our employees, like, ho. Then another one's like, ho. And back to the lesbian. So we're doing this stuff, and I'm just talking, and we leave and everything, and we get in the car, and I'm with the lesbian, who will forever be identified as the lesbian. And we're just driving, just a normal conversation, because we are like friends, okay? We're cool, we talk about stuff, it's very open, conversation always flowing. And then, you know how you're having a conversation with someone, and then they hit you with that thing that is not related to any sentence, word, or whatever is in the conversation? Because we were talking about picnics, and grass, and trees, and parks. And she just like, I've never been with a black man. I was like, what's going on with this family? But I am an actor playing a role in the play. This is our dysfunctional family. And I just keep driving. I was like, yeah, everybody's got to have a first time. So what, she's like, I was thinking maybe. I'm like, no. Because now this is going to be kind of funny. Because everyone's going to look at me like I'm crazy. Because, you saw the picture, and that's not her. That's an approximation of her. I was kind of cool with the stud. And the thing is, I said I never touched it. And, it was just like, I was kind of friends with a girlfriend. She did kind of warm up, and we're kind of cool. And it's just like, when you got your boy, and then you mess with this chick, that's just like, it's foul, right? It's foul. And I'm like, no. So this goes on. But the thing is, I keep the charade going because it's like everybody in the family was paid. You don't understand. There were no poor people in this family. I'm not talking, the poor people were the upper middle income people. Because we're going to stuff, and you see, what's that show with the doctors? He's up in the Hamptons and stuff. I forget the name of the show because I don't watch so much television, but I do remember it. And we're going places like that, and that's what the lawns look like in the house. It's like you drive up to the house, and there's this long fucking ass driveway, right? And my black ass is all up in the mix just going, I'm networking like a motherfucker. I was like, here's my card. If you ever need anything liquidated, I'm your guy. Well, what can you sell, Glendon? Was what I can't sell. I remember one time there was like 5 of those guys, and I was just telling about, what I did, and I got up 3 real big liquidation deals. It was very beneficial relationship to me. I can't lie. I made a lot of money because, people, when I put up the first video, it's like, fuck that. I would have told that bitch to kiss. I have learned to separate certain feelings from cash. I made a lot of money. My partner was just like, you need to keep dating that damn lesbian. We're making some money off that family. Because they were just like, it's this circle. When you get in, everyone's hooking you up. They would call, and like, grandma, I swear, I'm like, there was times I didn't, I just like, is this same little racist lady that came in the warehouse that day? Oh, Glenn, on the shoulders and everything, bringing me a plate. Yes, grandma's bringing me a fucking plate at the I'm just sitting there. I would go home, call I was like, you will not believe what happened today. I'm on the phone. I'm just like, you can't believe this shit. It's just crazy. It's not the same woman. I don't know. Well, as you know, every play has a curtain call. So about 6 months into this, her girlfriend makes an ultimatum. Because, see, the lesbian was fucking a dude. Not me. I never hit it. But she was fucking a dude. And she was fucking her brother. And apparently, that's why things were not what they used to be. So with that, I had to part ways because if you've ever seen lesbians fight, it's fun to watch, but it's not pretty. It's not pretty. And the thing just spiraled out of control and everything. And then Grandmama found out that she was still dating. And then she got pissed at me for perpetrating the fraud and everything. Then I got cut off by maybe 20% of the family, but the other 80% love me. They was like, I don't care what Agnes say. You've helped me out quite a bit, Glendon. We're going to keep this relationship going. Is that good with you, buddy? It's A-okay with me, Phil. Let's do this. And that's what happened, man. That's my crazy Craigslist story. Because one of the things I learned from that experience is everyone is fucked up. You know, you see people who are wealthy and you think they have all this problem. This family, if you saw the snapshot, you would just think like the Kennedys or some great royal family. And I mean, alcoholics, drug addicts, crazy. I saw so much stuff that I'm just sitting there like, this is funny. Everybody's fucked up. It's just a matter of degree. So with that, I would say my relationship with the lesbians and grandmama and probably netted us six figures over a course of a year or so. Independently of anything else. It was worth it. I don't care what you say. It was worth it. It was well worth it. And if I had to do it all over again, I would have dated two of her granddaughters. I've been like, yeah, she gets Tuesdays, she gets Fridays. That work for you, Grandma? I mean, seriously, because it was some wild stuff. I learned a lot about people. And the thing is, and for, you know, some of the black folks who want to watch this video about to get really pissed, racism is not as bad as many black folks make it out to be. Because if that was the case, my black ass would have not been up in the mix on those situations. I mean, shit, I was treated like fucking royalty. I mean, the servants who were black and Hispanic were just like, how the hell did you pull that off? I mean, they were just looking at me like, and because the thing is, I was around for months. It wasn't like I was just there for one. Hey, you know, it was just crazy. It was just really, really crazy. But it also goes to show, you know, a lot of well-off people shop resale. So if you're in the resale game, you know, make sure you have good presentation because you could get grandmama. All right, that's the deal. That's what it is. And I am going to do some more stories because I have more. Because, you know, I'll tell you, and I'm putting this at the end for the folks who have determined to stay with it. One of the reasons that I pulled back from the stories was I got tired of seeing my shit on television. Because I've talked to like 30 fucking different production companies. And there were no contracts signed, and I'm sharing information with them. They're sharing information with me, right? So really, there's only certain things that I could have really sued for. And even with evidence and even being in the right, I had to make a decision. Was this a battle worth fighting? And I was like, fuck it, I'm just not going to do stories anymore. And then they'll have to do their own shit, in which they have. And I'm just like, fuck it, you know. Life goes on. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do stories. I'm going to put stuff out and just keep this thing rolling. Because there's more Craigslist stories than storage auction stories. Way more. All right, this is Glendon.